Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And continuing...
The summer of Freddy versus Jason!
We're going to be taking a look at the 5th movie in the Friday the 13th franchise, Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. Released in 1985, 1 year after the final chapter, removing all doubt they had any intentions to slow the series down, let alone stop it, A New Beginning follows the character of Tommy Jarvis after he's all grown up. I think. Some say this is set in 1989, meaning Tommy's about 17, but the man who plays him, John Shepherd, was pushing 30 when this movie was made. But if they had put it in 1999, then they'd have to pull out all this weird sci-fi shit, and honestly, who the hell would do something so crazy with the Friday the 13th series? The setting is rural enough that pinpointing the exact year it takes place in doesn't change all that much anyway. Tommy has been traumatized by the events of the final chapter, and has been spending the last 5 years under heavy psychotherapy. This brings us to probably the most literal interpretation of Happy Home / Funny Farm, where a string of murders takes place, with an all-too-familiar similarity to the work of the slasher villain who tormented these parts all those years ago. Which is an interesting strategy to take. Move on from the iconic horror villain you created to a whole new horror villain by constantly reminding people about the iconic one that you made. Right. Anyway, let's take a look at Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, and see exactly why it is that so many people told me if I really needed time this summer, I could just skip this one. The story begins on a dark and stormy night, as we see someone making their way through the dark woods into a local cemetery to visit a grave. That someone being Tommy Jarvis, and that grave being Jason Voorhees. Tommy again being played by Corey Feldman. And I am so good at pronouncing last names. Before he can finish staring crazily at it, suddenly 2 teenagers show up out of the blue. Seems their weekend plans involve finding Jason's grave and digging his ass up for shits and giggles. Seriously, they are way too excited about this. Dead bodies, man! Yeah! Oh, this is way better than last weekend's panty raid at the retirement home. For some reason, actually prying the coffin open and seeing the guy makes the 2 men shut up and look all concerned. Maybe because dead people aren't quite as fun as they were anticipating. And they buried Jason in his mask. With his machete? And a fucking ice pick. Dear God, is it any more obvious they were clearly planning for a sequel? At this point, Tommy, despite showcasing he knew how to think under pressure and was capable of taking Jason on in the last movie, suddenly devolves into a sniveling pile of fear who just sits there waiting for Jason to come in and finish him off too. But it was all just a dream! And Voorhees doesn't have that dream-killing power, so Tommy's fine. But he's grown up in an instant, now being played by the aforementioned John Shepherd. Today he's being transformed from the Unger Institute of Mental Health to the Pinehurst Youth Development Center. It's just a nicer way of saying child-centric nut house. Upon his arrival, we are introduced to 2 adults in charge, Pam, played by Melanie Kinnaman, and Matt, played by Richard Young.
You'll find we're very different from the state institution. We don't have any guards here. Nobody's going to tell you what you can do or what you can't do.
There are no rules here at Pinehurst. Just a very simple, easy-to-remember, 50-page book of suggestions that you should really take into consideration. Or else. Tommy's not speaking at this point, so they finish off the introduction by sending him to his room. This just leaves Matt to tell the audience that after killing Jason in the final chapter, Tommy had severe psychological issues and has been going from mental hospital to mental hospital in the years since.
Well, they've given him every treatment, every therapy they can think of. It's a wonder his mind isn't fried with all the drugs they've given him.
They also never explain what happened to his sister. For the purposes of the story, she just doesn't exist. I'm sure the person that he killed Jason to save couldn't possibly be important to the plot at all. Not as important as Tommy having stowed away a secret knife that he hardly knows how to handle if this is anything to go by, but he hides it under his bed before moving to scope out the place. Wait a minute, this isn't part 3. The surprise jump scare in your face was provided by Shavara Ross, who plays Reggie.
They call me Reggie the Reckless. No spider would scare me.
Well, if you really want to scare the kid, you could pull the knife out again. This is taking way too long to introduce everyone, so suddenly the police arrive, causing everyone to rush outside to find out what the commotion is, introducing Reggie's grandfather, George, played by Vernon Washington, Sheriff Tucker, played by Marco St. John, Jake and Violet, played by Jerry Pavlon and Tiffany Helm, and finally Tina and Eddie, played by Deborah Voorhees and John Robert Dixon. All these fucking teenagers.
We found them in the Hubbard's woods. They were screwing their heads off, Matt.
Or just those two were fucking. Or literally screwing each other's heads off. But we saw that in the morgue in the last movie. Tucker was happy to get them before the crazy bitch who owned the place noticed they were there, except it seems that sirens might have tipped her off, as she arrives soon after, Ethel, played by Carol Locatell.
Now these kids ain't nothing but trouble. They don't respect others' property, and they're all crazy.
You tell them, Ma!
Yeah, the characterization in this movie is a bit on the simplistic side. Anyway, her son is Junior, played by Ron Sloan, and the both of them look like they'd make more sense in the nut house rather than critiquing it.
Would you shut the fuck up?
It's a movie review, I gotta keep talking. Even if I can legally show a longer clip for fair use, the Content ID bot don't give a fuck. She finishes her rant by saying that if any kids go onto her property again, she'll shoot them dead. Also, she threatens Tucker by saying she has a bomb on her and somehow still thinks she's in the right.
That's it, my final words.
You know, considering half the people in the nut house don't even have discernible issues, what in the fuck kind of upside-down land have we found ourselves in? With that, she leaves, the residents cheer, and we really don't see all that much of her from here on out. Besides, we gotta get through introducing even more characters, like Joey, played by Dominic Brascia, offering to help Violet and Robin, played by Juliet Cummins, with hanging the laundry.
It's really no problem.
Oh, Joey! Will you just get out of here? But
I'm sorry, you two. Really, I can do laundry great.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Obviously, Joey does have some social awkwardness issues. He would have problems integrating into society, but I really don't see how letting him roam free in the backyard and let nature take its course is supposed to help him any better than just throwing him out into society in the just general public. And Robin there, yeah, she is also a bit on the shy side, but not nearly to that point. I don't see how she couldn't work in society. And Violet? She's a punk. Like, that's it. How zany. As I don't want his help, he moves on to assist Victor, played by Mark Venturini, with chopping wood. Good thing, too, as Victor's just hacking away at a log sideways, and I have no fucking clue what he's even trying to accomplish here.
I never really chopped wood before, but it certainly looks like fun.
Leave me alone!
Okay, now he actually looks like he has a reason to be here. Probably not with access to big fucking bladed objects, but hey, I don't set my nut houses up to set up a fucking slasher movie with them, now do I? Joey even gives a peace offering, but after Victor wastes the precious sweets, Joey just tells him off and goes to leave. And the body count has started. The real one. The two guys in the opening were just a dream, so that doesn't count in this franchise. The police and paramedics arrive in short order, introducing Roy Burns, played by Dick Wyland, and Duke Johnson, played by Kesky Swain. After securing Victor in a patrol car, it's time to take care of that dead body.
Oh, God!
By showing it off to all the kiddies. Fuck, why stop there? Perform the autopsy on the front lawn. Throw the pancreas to Violet. I'm sure she can think of something to do with it. Duke is kind of a dick about this, but Roy takes the death a lot more seriously. Anyway, we suddenly teleport to a whole different area, meeting up with two new characters, Vinny and Pete, played by Anthony Barrill, and Corey Parker. It seems they were on their way to the set of Grease 3 when they passed through a horror movie and had car trouble. No bother, Vinny can take care of this. At least he better, cause Pete don't give a fuck.
Get this done by the time I get back. I gotta take a crap. Crap my ass! Just do it, man. I mean it.
Just fix the damn car. I have to deal with some serious shit. But he can't just crap 15 feet away. No, in order to properly shit in the woods, he must go down the paths, over the hills, crossing rivers and mountains to find the perfect tree upon which he may take a dump. This brings him far enough out that he doesn't hear someone else sneaking up on Pete, masking himself with a flare, so before the man realizes he's not Vinny, he's already close enough for this. This is why you gotta be careful with phosphorus flares. It'll kill you if you're a dummy.
All right, either you got the car started or you're a dead man.
He's not wrong. He doesn't bother checking why Vinny's trying to fix the car with mouth-to-mouth, but either way it seems to have worked as he gets the car started somehow.
Let's go!
And the gore effects in this movie are kind of shit. I mean, they say they had to edit out a lot of stuff to keep it an R rating because they were going to get an X rating, but I mean, come on, even the parts we do see don't look that good. From this we go straight to Tommy, still mentally unstable, tormented by memories of the night he killed Jason and the terror he saw. So it's time to take some of those good old drugs to feel better. To be perfectly honest with you, I actually do like this part a lot better. I mean, Tommy doesn't have much of a range of emotion, but he does freaked out well, and the psychological aspect just kind of works here. They push the angle of Tommy's insanity a hell of a lot better than all the other characters. I mean, he's clearly disturbed, but aside from the occasional social awkwardness, nobody else really comes across as being any different than the rest of the characters from the Friday the 13th series. For instance, this insufferable prick who thinks he's hot shit because he's never faced a proper critique in his entire life.
What's wrong? No sense of humor? Can't you take a joke?
Whoa, now Tommy, save that rage for the asylum. Wait a minute. Of course, this land of no rules and nobody telling Tommy what to do immediately steps in and tells Tommy to stop doing that. By the way, here's a mysterious guy we've never seen before. He's semi-important. Moving on, we see the police have found Vinny and Pete's bodies and are worried about the ramifications.
What the hell's going on here? You talking to me, Sheriff? Huh? Oh, I thought you was talking to me.
I'm an important character in this movie. You know that, Sheriff? Remember this face, okay? Okay. Also, there's another scene that I could omit entirely. I mean, it ups the body count, but not by much, and it's almost entirely unrelated to the rest of the movie, but I gotta keep it in for two big reasons.
It's showtime!
This man, Billy, played by Bob DeSimone, is a doctor at the Unger Institute of Mental Health, and also it's nice to include the kills whenever possible. So while he's waiting on his date, Lana, played by Rebecca Wood, to join him for a coke, the killer axes the back of his head before quickly hiding the body so that Lana doesn't suspect anything, before returning when Lana's in the car alone. Rather than drive, she just tries to run, but it's too late. You might have noticed they changed the chant in this movie as well from to for kill Tommy kill. Of course, everyone keeps telling me that the original chant is actually ma 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 for kill mommy kill, but no matter how hard I try, I can't hear it like that. Moving on, we see Tommy sees Jason yet again, but there's a big problem with assuming that Jason is the one responsible for these murders.
Jason Voorhees is dead! His body was cremated. He's nothing but a handful of ash.
Maybe. But tell me, what would happen if someone mistook that ash for cocaine? Makes more sense than what any of these kids are being rehabilitated for, like Tina and Eddie, the two fuckers from earlier. It seems that's their ailment, nymphomania. The kind that only occurs every few days, and specifically between these two, otherwise known as teenagers in love. And what we've seen throughout most of the series already, so how is it odd and incompatible with society?
I gotta go wash up.
Okay, sugar.
But the guy goes to wash up while the lady stays behind. You know, even that doesn't count, because they were doing the last movie. Of course, them splitting up means the psycho murderer is nearby. Obviously, considering they killed the least impressive red herring in film just now, and he moves in on Tina. That's probably the best looking kill so far. And we didn't actually see it. It's kind of sad. When Eddie returns, he finds his love's loving days are over, and follows suit. But, wouldn't the leather snap before his skull is crushed? I mean, I'm pretty sure it would hurt like hell, but he'd probably live. Even though the teens at the Happy Home are now being picked off, that doesn't mean anyone's actually taken notice yet. Besides, they've decided to take Reggie to town to see his brother Demon. Yes, Demon. Tommy gets to tag along too, because he hasn't had very many scenes in this movie, all things considered. He stays behind at the car, though, so Reggie and Pam go up to meet Demon, played by Miguel A. Nunez Jr.
Oh,
Oh my God, well get your ass in here, boy! God, it's good to see you, dude. Damn, you look good.
And as pointless as the overall plot of this movie as seen is, it's actually one of the highlights of the movie, if you ask me. Miguel is probably the best actor in the film, outside of maybe John Shepherd, but Demon has a hell of a lot more emotional range on show here, and it's nice to see him interacting with his little brother.
I know what you want. Want a beer?
Yeah, I'll take the...
Get out of here. I tell you what, why don't you take this?
It won't come in handy, it's not a plot device in any way, shape, or form, but fuck it, characterization is neat. Unfortunately, their bonding is interrupted when the horribly hammy-acting Junior shows up, instigating a fight with Tommy, which the man returns quite readily, only to realize he did a bad again and run off into the night. Thus, Pam and Reggie have to go, leaving us with Demon and his girlfriend Anita, played by Jerry Fields.
Oh, it's them damn enchiladas! Oh.
You gonna be alright?
Oh.
Which we continue watching as he engages in mundane activities like dropping a deuce. You know what this means. Man, I wish I had a girl who knew just how to scare the shit out of me in the most convenient place possible. They proceed to make up singing, because that's a thing, but eventually Anita's vocals abruptly stop, and the outhouse starts shaking again.
I told you this isn't funny. Now you're gonna get it, bitch.
With Anita's corpse blocking his egress, Demon is trapped in the shitter with nothing to do but wait to be impaled and killed. Ah well, moving on we see Pam drops Reggie off back at the house before heading out in search for Tommy alone. Junior, however, is doing his best to fuck subtlety in the ass, driving around his home on his motorcycle, screaming at his mother about Tommy hitting him, while his mother screams back to shut the fuck up. And not one fuck was given on that day. Am I supposed to care about these characters' deaths? I mean, I'm pretty sure if Pam walks in here during the find the bodies and scream phase of the movie, she's gonna be like, oh. Well, that's a shame, I guess. Pam's not gonna make it out there anyway because sudden magical horror movie car trouble comes up, and she has to turn back on foot. Back at the house, though, the socially awkward characters do their best to take this movie where all Friday the 13th films go.
I wanna make love with you.
Bend over and take my cock in your ass. Unfortunately, Robin breaks out in nervous laughter, causing Jake to take offense and storm off. Right into the killer! He's very camera shy considering it's the third act. Sadly, Robin actually did like this guy and is upset at herself for spoiling the mood. Also, god damn! The reason that kill was so memorable is because it looked so damn good. Doing another version of it that looks like shit is not how you pay homage. Also, despite how long this review is already getting and the fact that I could just summarize what happens to Violet and move on, I gotta say, I love the music that's playing as the killer sneaks up on the woman. Not only is it a kick-ass tune, His Eyes by Pseudo Echo, but when you think about it, the singer may as well just be saying, "Bitch, turn around, he's right behind you." One stab in an obvious dummy's gut later, and Violet is dead too. This means it's time for Reggie to wake up and check around the house, initiating that part of the Friday the 13th movie.
Yo, Tommy!
Ah, he started a collection. Well, it's very convenient. It's much better than having to run around to 3 different parts of the house to find them all.
What is it, Reggie? It's Pam. What's the matter? What's the matter? It's me. What is it?
It's okay, Reggie. What's wrong? I'm here. What's going on? It's okay. What the fuck, Reggie? When the kid points out the big-ass pile of dead bodies over there, she realizes they've got to get the hell out of there as fast as possible. If you don't want him to fall, maybe you shouldn't push him the fuck over. But you know what? I really don't think that Jason walking through the door literally is ever going to get old for me. Nevertheless, the two of them make haste and try to escape their pursuer's casual gait. Spotting the ambulance from earlier, they think help has arrived. So, does Jason teleport? Because, I mean, how the hell did he get there faster than them without coming up from behind them? Because slasher villain physics. Also, in case you're worried, the body count is still a little low compared to the character count. And don't worry, they're still dead, it's just that yet to come up. Because seeing them being killed is not something we expect in these kind of movies anyway. Scared out of her mind, she returns to the house hoping to find someone else who may be able to help. Like, I don't know, George? Who again died off screen. I think. You know, when I played this back, I noticed the stuntman was running at the window very obviously, so... You know, maybe George's just knuckin' futs. So she runs back out into the rain as Jason casually pursues her. Knowing he can't possibly be a threat like that, she trips and crawls as slowly as possible, ensuring the man will catch up no problem. But there is one thing that may still save her. The biggest fucking Tonka Power Wheels you've ever seen. Oh, outside of Japan, anyway. They don't finish running him over or anything. Hell, they don't even take the obviously working vehicle out of there. They just decide, sure, he's dead, and stand within arm's reach of the body. Trying to escape, they eventually hide out in the barn. I told you these guys took Funny Farm extremely literally. Jason is visibly wounded, and seems much more taken aback by this than usual, but nevertheless he pushes forward, ready to kill them as soon as he finds them. Only to come face to face with motherfucking Chainsaw Pam! You know, I don't remember Leatherface ever having this kind of trouble with those things. Out of gas and out of time, Pam could still use the chainsaw to parry Jason's attacks, but... that'll show him. So they're fucked. That is until Tommy arrives to save the day. That means we know Jason is not Tommy. Of course, Tommy also isn't much of a hero here, standing there like an idiot, just staring at the guy. Maybe he thinks it's just another nightmare. But chances are it's real. I mean, unless the crossover with A Nightmare on Elm Street happened a bit sooner than people realize. Using the handily established plot knife, Tommy stabs Jason in the crotch. Inner thigh, so it still counts. This leads to a big back and forth up top, which comes to a head when Tommy has to use the machete to save Reggie from Jason. Aha! It was Roy all along! Come on, and then do the ooh and the ah. Considering they did next to nothing to establish why earlier, Sheriff Tucker explains the plot to the audience. Evidently, Joey was Roy's son, and when he was killed in the beginning of the movie, Roy decided the best course of action was to murder abso-fucking-lutely everyone at the asylum, starting with some random greasers on the road, plus a waitress and doctor. All this so he could mask his revenge with the legend of Jason Voorhees, avoiding all accountability for that. Plus, he got to murder his co-worker, and that guy was kind of a dick anyway. Point is, with it all over, Pam goes to make sure that Tommy is all right. Well, so much for that turned out to be the good guy part. But it was all just a dream! A dream that leads to him waking up to see Jason, who we have established is also a dream. So, with that done, it seems that Tommy kept the Jason mask, and after facing this ordeal twice now... he actually became the new killer. Though he's only got a total body count of 3, with Jason, Roy, and Pam. But, yeah, it's probably because the fan backlash kept them from making any more movies focusing on the guy. Nevertheless, that was Friday the 13th. A mistake. New beginning. And, it's not bad, honestly. It's just not good. While fans of the series were vocal about not wanting to see someone else take the reins of the hockey mask from Jason, it should be noted that the movie didn't bomb because of it. As a matter of fact, it broke a few records associated with the series. They still gave a damn about fan feedback, though, so this movie can be omitted from a marathon without messing up the overall plot all that much. In my opinion, as a Friday the 13th movie without Jason as the killer, it reminded me quite a lot of the original film. In many ways, actually, A New Beginning did the concept better. Roy, while not as interesting a character as Pamela, considering by the time we find out that he's the killer he's already dead, was very similar. They both had sons with special needs, and both went mad when their children died. One big distinction was Roy is actually in the movie before they revealed him to be the killer, which in my opinion was a plus. Honestly, looking at the plot on paper, it's a pretty good slasher murder mystery with enough red herrings and a good lead up to the obvious sequel material. The big problem comes with the execution. Most of the acting was very bland, the characters came off as caricatures, and the kills were extremely tame and not nearly as imaginative as the previous entries in the series. Overall, Friday the 13th A New Beginning had all the foundation to wow audiences and make them excited for a new direction of the series with a greater psychological angle and elements of mystery, but tripped on the execution only to slowly hobble along until the audiences were begging Jason to just put it out of his misery already. But it's still an okay flick in its own right, coming in at 3 Tonka Trucks of Terror out of 5. I'm pretty sure they could have omitted it from the entire collection I bought, and I really wouldn't have noticed until I did some research later. Oh well, thank you all for watching. I've been Dr. Shado. And remember, you don't know he was cremated. Were you there?